Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United are set to announce Ralf Rangnick as the new manager. David Ornstein from The Athletic recently said that Ralf Rangnick has agreed to become the interim manager at Manchester United on a 6-month contract. He will not be in charge for the game against Chelsea as he waits for his work permit. Rangnick is the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. Before he managed Schalke, he won the German Cup with Schalke back in 2011. He also got Schalke to the Champions League semi-finals. He managed RB Leipzig before and he got them to the final back in 2019. I think he will improve Manchester United. I think he'll get the best out of these group of players. He's good at developing young players. And I think he could be capable of winning trophies at Manchester United. I think Pochettino will be the next manager after Ralf Rangnick. Manchester United are looking to get a permanent manager at the end of the season. Now, it's said not so long ago that PSG rejected Manchester United's approach to appoint Mauricio Pochettino. Prior to PSG's game against Man City, Pochettino said he's happy at PSG and won't let the Man United rumours distract him. Revert back to earlier on this week, it said obviously Pochettino is interested in the Manchester United job, and the Manchester Evening News came out and said that Man United are confident of appointing Mauricio Pochettino as the next permanent manager. And it said Manchester United agreed to pay the 10 million compensation fee that PSG have been demanding. Manchester United should have got Mauricio Pochettino after the club sacked Mourinho, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Pochettino is a good manager, even though he's hardly won anything. He's proven in the Premier League, which is also beneficial because before Pochettino managed Tottenham, he endured 5.5 years at Tottenham. He almost won the Premier League when he was at Tottenham, and he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final back in 2018. Analysing the vast majority of Pochettino's tenure at Tottenham, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4, and before he's managed Southampton as Pochettino, he only enjoyed a short tenure with them, but he still guided Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the league so far. Before he has managed Espanyol, and as you all know, he's currently the PSG manager at the moment. He's got one full season left on his PSG contract. But yeah, Mauricio Pochettino is Man United's number one choice. Fabrizio Romano confirmed that not so long ago. You know, there's been a few managers linked with a permanent role at Man United. Obviously, Eric Ten Hag has been spoken about a lot, and I presume there's a lot of United fans that would take him at the end of the season. You've got to admire what he's done at Ajax. You know, he's won some trophies at Ajax, he develops young players good, and he's been at Ajax for 4 years. So if we don't get Pochettino at the end of the season, we could get Eric Ten Hag. Brendan Rodgers has also been spoken about, but obviously I've disregarded Brendan Rodgers because not so long ago Rodgers dismissed links to the Man United job. Rodgers said, "I'm proud to be at Leicester." Not so long ago though, Rodgers was contacted by Manchester United. Earlier on in the season, Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire, so that stirred some suggestions up, and at that point it did say Rodgers was the favourite to replace Solskjaer. And Zinedine Zidane, he was linked with a managerial role at Man United. At one point he was interested, but then it came out and said there's a problem. You know, Zidane's wife wasn't attracted to the idea of living in Manchester. And not so long ago, Zidane said he's not interested in taking over at Manchester United. He doesn't feel ready for the Premier League at the moment. Obviously, Zidane has been in contact with PSG. So there you go. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Of course, Manchester United sacked David Moyes, sacked Louis van Gaal, sacked Jose Mourinho, and sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last Sunday morning. At the moment, Manchester United have got Michael Carrick in as the interim manager. The game against Chelsea will be his second and his final game as interim manager. Michael Carrick won his first game as the interim manager against Villarreal. You know, Manchester United beat Villarreal 2-0. The goals came from Ronaldo, and we saw Sancho score his first goal for the club. Reflecting on the win against Villarreal, Manchester United qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League with still one game to spare in the group. I give Michael Carrick a lot of credit though in that game against Villarreal because I thought his game plan was correct and I thought his substitutions were correct. It got announced that Michael Carrick taking over as the interim manager last Sunday morning following the dismissal of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Of course, Solskjaer got sacked following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. Don't forget, Solskjaer did a farewell interview and he got emotional in that farewell interview. Because obviously, Solskjaer's been part of the club for such a long time. Obviously, Solskjaer was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years. And plus, Solskjaer endured 11 years as a player for Man United. You know, despite Man United sacking Solskjaer last Sunday morning, all United fans still adore him, reflecting on what he's done for the club. You know, Solskjaer is a club legend, he always will be a club legend. That's what it did mention on the statement when the club officially sacked him. I did feel for Solskjaer though, because obviously he got the vast majority of the blame, reflecting on our poor performances in the last few months under him. And yes, like I said, some of the blame did stem from Solskjaer because his team selections and his tactics were questioned a lot. But not all the blame stemmed from him. There was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. Manchester United paid Solskjaer around £7.5 million. Because revert back to last summer, he signed a new 3-year contract with an option of a further year. And Manchester United made a mistake giving him that contract. Because I knew for a long time he was not the long-term manager for Man United. Ole has no proven pedigree as a manager. The clubs he has managed in his managerial career so far, obviously he managed Man United's reserve team for a couple of years. He managed Cardiff. He only enjoyed a short tenure at Cardiff. He got Cardiff relegated, so reflecting on that, Cardiff sacked him. He enjoyed 2 spells at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles and that at Molde, but they're not a big club. And of course, he managed Manchester United's senior squad. Solskjaer did not win a trophy when he was United manager, and I said he wasn't capable of winning trophies as a manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. The expectations were far too high for Ole to exceed as Man United manager, and Ole was in a position that he should have never been in. Ole enjoyed 2 full seasons. Obviously this season was his 3rd full season when he was United manager. And I did say at the start of this season that this season was always going to be massive for him. And obviously the pressure was on him at the start of this season, reflecting on the summer transfer window Manchester United had. Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and Man United spent around £141 million. And of course the board backed Solskjaer well in this year's summer transfer window. The Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him. Ed Woodward, I think, is leaving Manchester United in January. I'm hearing that Richard Arnold is replacing him as the chief executive. Well, it got announced back in April that Woodward is leaving the club, obviously when that European Super League came into the equation. And then it said earlier on this season that Woodward was in talks to stay at Man United under a new role. Woodward's had a 16-year association with the club. John Murtaugh, our director of football, backed him, and Darren Fletcher also backed him. So reflecting on that, in the end, Solskjaer ran out of excuses. All he knew when he'd taken over at Man United, it was going to be a massive job. Not only a massive job, a difficult job as well. Because Ole was managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. Solskjaer did get appointed in as the interim manager in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. Ole did well in his first 3 months as the interim manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. Solskjaer did sign 14 players when he was United manager. And Man United spent over 400 million under Solskjaer. Ollie also got rid of a lot of players when he was United manager. He got rid of players permanently. He also loaned players out. In Ollie's first full season, got us to 3 semi-finals. Also got us a 3rd place finish. In his second full season, he got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final, the Europa League final. That was his first major final when he was United manager, but unfortunately Man United didn't win it. And in his second full season, he got us a 2nd place finish. Don't forget as well, when we had Ollie, Man United went 29 games unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. You know, Manchester United have not been the same team since Ferguson retired. A lot of United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, which obviously it has done. No one's going to replicate what Ferguson did. You know, Ferguson won 30 odd trophies when he was United manager, including 13 Premier League titles, so reflecting on that, he brought success to the club. Ferguson didn't settle in straight away though, because he didn't win out in his first 4 years. Ferguson was at Manchester United for around 26 years, so he was a very long-serving manager. The only mistake Ferguson made was recommending David Moyes in when he retired, but the reason he did that is because they're both Scottish, and obviously Ferguson seemed to have a lot of time for Moyes. Manchester United must have brought a good 40 odd players in since Ferguson retired. Obviously, you know, when we had Moyes, you know, he brought Juan Mata and Marion Fellaini in. They were only the 2 players he signed, Moyes. Van Gaal, you know, when he was United manager, he made quite a lot of signings, didn't he? I don't think I can remember them all, but I know of quite a few. I know that he brought Memphis Depay in. He brought Herrera in. He brought Martial in. He brought Shaw in. He brought Schneiderlin in. He brought Schweinsteiger in. He brought Valdez in. He brought Falcao in. Daley Blind, he's another player Louis van Gaal brought in. So they are quite a few of the players he did bring in. Jose Mourinho, you know, he brought 11 players in when he was United manager. Obviously Mourinho brought Lukaku in. He brought Sanchez in. He brought Matic in. He brought Bailly in. He brought Lindelof in. He brought Dalot in. He brought Lee Grant in. He brought Pogba in. Who else did he bring in? So yeah, don't think I can remember everyone he brought in. But they are quite a few of the players that Mourinho brought in. And like I said, Solskjaer, he signed 14 players, didn't he? You know, he obviously brought Daniel James, Pisaka and Maguire in. Then obviously in January 2020 he brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Igalo in on loan. Obviously then in the summer of 2020 he brought Edison Cavani in, Alex Telles, Van der Beek, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri, and of course in this year's summer transfer window he brought Heaton in, Sancho, Varane and re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. So Man United must have spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years or so. Now Manchester United are going to offload players next year. Next year, I think Anthony Martial is going. You know, Martial doesn't really get in the team, but there again, Martial surprisingly started against Villarreal recently. He was playing on the left wing. Martial come back from injury not so long ago. Martial is no longer good enough to represent the club. He's only endured one good season at Man United. That was his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial's been at Manchester United for 6 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract. We got him from Monaco back in 2015 for 58 million, was it? Cavani, I think he's leaving the club next year. I'm hearing that Barcelona want Cavani. At the moment, Cavani is out with injury until December. Earlier on this season, Cavani was out with injury. He's got under a year left on his Man United contract. It was back in May he signed that 1-year contract extension. This season is Cavani's second full season at Man United. Man United did get him on a free transfer from PSG. Jesse Lingard, I think he's leaving next year, because not so long ago it said Jesse Lingard's future at Man United is in doubt after talks over a new contract collapsed. Lingard's current contract at Man United expires next summer. Not so long ago it said Lingard could leave for just £10 million. Lingard doesn't really get in the team. He's only made one start this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. Lingard has been part of Manchester United though for a long time. You know, he's risen up our academy. You know, he's had his good periods at Man United. He's also had his bad periods. I'm hearing that West Ham want to re-sign him. Don't forget, last season Lingard enjoyed a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. And I heard as well that Lingard wants to go abroad. Mata, I think he's also leaving the club next year. You know, Mata doesn't get in the team, does he? Plus he's lost that yard of pace and he is aging up. Mata's contract at Man United expires next summer, because earlier on this year he signed a 1-year contract extension. I can't understand why we extended his contract for a further year. But Mata's had a good career at Man United. You know, he has made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored over 50 goals. We got him from Chelsea back in 2014 for around 40 million. Like I mentioned earlier, we brought him in under the David Moyes era. Donny van der Beek could be leaving Man United in January. Well, before Solskjaer got sacked, Van der Beek confirmed that he's leaving the club in January. But if Van der Beek from now was to get his opportunities that he has been demanding, then that could persuade him to stay. You know, Van der Beek didn't get his opportunities under Solskjaer. Van der Beek did start against Villarreal recently. He started in that number 10 ahead of Fernandes, and what a good performance he put out. He obviously came on in the 4-1 defeat to Watford and he made an impact because he scored in that game. That was only his second goal for the club. So that just proves how good Van der Beek is. You know, Manchester United got Van der Beek for 40 million. We paid 35 million up front, there was 5 in add-ons. Van der Beek's got a contract with Man United till 2025. There's an option of a further year, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. But, you know, Van der Beek's been at Man United now for a year and a half, is it? Or over a year and a half. He's enjoyed a difficult year and a half at the club. You know, this season is his second full season at Man United. I think there's a good chance that Matic is leaving the club next year. You know, Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities. And surprisingly enough, he's been ahead of Van der Beek in our midfield. Matic is the only predominant centre defensive midfielder we've got. I've always had my reservations about Matic, because he's always been a static midfielder. And he does make mistakes, and he's aging up. He's been at Manchester United for 4.5 years. We got Matic from Chelsea back in 2017 for 40 million. Pogba, I think he could be leaving Man United next year. We'll revert back to earlier on this season. It said Man United are prepared to sell Paul Pogba in the January transfer window. Well, it makes sense to cash in for him in January rather than let him go on a free next summer. Pogba's obviously missing the rest of 2021 because he's got a thigh injury. He suffered the thigh injury in France training earlier on in the season. So reflecting on that, Pogba may never play for the club again. And I think Dalot, Telles, Jones, Bailly will be leaving next year. And obviously Dean Henderson wants to go out on loan. Because obviously Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities now because De Gea reclaimed that number 1 spot back. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. At one point though, he was out with COVID for a while, was Henderson. At one point though, last season, he got that number 1 jersey, didn't he? And he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. So there you go. As you all know, Man United have got some players missing. Obviously, like I said, Cavani's out with injury till December. Rafael Varane is out with a hamstring injury. I think he's out for another 2 to 3 weeks. Like I said, Pogba's out. Luke Shaw's got a head injury at the moment. Obviously, he missed the game against Villarreal recently. Telles played ahead of him. I'm not too sure if Shaw's going to be available for the game against Chelsea this Sunday. And Mason Greenwood, he's still unavailable at the moment because Mason Greenwood has got COVID. So yes, on my next video, I will be giving you my predicted 11 for Man United's game against Chelsea. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.